Hello, welcome back to the booth. Brian David Marshall here with Mate Zadokai. Mate, we get to watch some more drafts.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, those semifinals were great.
Yeah, no, terrific semifinals. Really funny. There's a lot of banter going back and forth across the table, too, that didn't really get conveyed because we're focused on the play area. But it was a fun match to watch, both on the stream and live.
Yeah, especially because almost all the players know each other for a while now, so they can joke around a little bit. So it was great to see on the back when we were looking at their matches.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised by how blank Andre Strosky's face is on the draw of every card off of his teammate's deck.
Yeah. I just want to play against Andre Strasky all day.
Anyway, we're ready. We've got our finals draft lined up. We've got Márcio Carvalho on the Team Dex Army. We're going to watch him draft here in the finals, Grand Prix Rotterdam. Let's go to the tape. All right, so this is the top two. This is it here at Grand Prix Rotterdam. This draft will determine who is the champion. You see Márcio Carvalho foremost. He'll be passing to Frank Karsten. Frank Karsten passing to Luis Salvatto. Luis Salvatto, by the way, has locked up gold for this season.
Already,
yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, 15 points from the Pro Tour, some points from here, World Magic Cup.
He's got another Grand Prix top 8 in Chile.
Yeah, great run for him. And it's going to solidify him as one of the best South American players. But speaking of one of the best players in the world, Márcio Carvalho, quick reminder, Márcio is 15-0 this tournament. He has not lost a match this tournament. He's carrying his team, literally.
All right, well, this draft, we'll see if he can go 16-0 and carry them into the trophy shot here at Grand Prix Rotterdam. Skywhaler shot, Electrostatic Pummeler, Foundry Screecher, a couple of the cards we're seeing as he's flipping through this pack.
Yeah, Glimmer of Genius as well.
Glimmer of Genius, yeah.
I think Skywhaler shot is probably the best card in the pack and one that he puts in front. Quickly deciding on it. I would have at least thought for a little long while, but yeah, I mean, I will only probably consider Glimmer of Genius and Skywhaler shot is just better, so might as well take the better card.
Absolutely, takes the removal. Card is such a blowout in combat. We've talked a lot about cards like Built to Smash.
Yeah.
This card is just brutal with that.
It just looks like, but it can't kill anything small. Well, everything relevant is power 3 or more, so like you get to kill almost everything that's relevant to the board.
And so often people are just trying to hide behind one big creature when they stabilize if they're off to a slow start.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what's coming up next. See an Eddie Trail Hawk.
Ooh, Shrewd Negotiation.
Shrewd Negotiations.
Ooh, what?
Wow.
Wow.
Rashmi.
That is surprising.
Crafter. This is wow. That's a. What do you think's going on? What are you taking to pass that card?
It had to be something really good. I mean, I wouldn't surprise Bas Melis, to Marcio's right, took a masterpiece in the semifinals, so maybe. But I think it was an uncommon missing.
Yeah, I couldn't quite get the count there, but yeah. Wow. Rashmi Eternity Crafter is the pick. And that card is just so difficult to keep up with if it lives.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you ever untap with it and have a spell in your hand that you can cast, it gets really gross really fast. Let's see if you can find something to accompany it with. Oh, okay. Attune with Ether.
That
helps.
That's a fine card to make sure you're going to be able to cast your spell. Even if he doesn't end up exactly blue-green, he could be green X.
Yeah, but this sets them very nicely. As you said, he can be base green, and he can splash the Rashmi. He can, he can still play the Skywell shot, be more of a blue-green-white, but he can still go into a different color. Attune with Ether is just super flexible. It also allows you to play fewer lands, which is great. Even though if you're trying to do really cool things with Rashmi, you want to make sure you cast your spells.
All right, Acrobatic Mover. There's a Decoction Module. There's a Nimble Innovator, Kujar Seed Sculptor, Hazardous Conditions.
Has some good cards, but nothing that I would be that excited about in my Rashmi deck. I quite like the Decoction Module. He already has the Attune with Ether as well, so he can definitely get some energy synergies going. He might just be very conservative and go with the Kujar Seed Sculptor here.
Gear Seeker Serpent as well, but he does go with the Seed Sculptor.
I mean, it does make sense when he's going for Rashmi. He wants to live until he gets to play her and untap. And Seed Sculptor is just decent to drop.
I was just going to say, underrated as a 2/3 for 2.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, Sage of Thalia's Claim. That's not too bad. Again, a 2-drop that can also generate some energy.
Also looking at the Gear Report Guide. And doing that, you can see he's counting around the table,
Yeah.
see what might come back. But he does take the Sage of Shalia's Claim.
Right. I like that pick. I think it's the Sage of Shalia's Claim is better.
Yeah. Maybe thinking that Guide might come back.
Yeah.
Not a
It
super
could.
exciting card.
Yeah. If there's only one other green draft at the table, it's certainly possible.
Durable Handicraft.
Yeah, that can do some work, and the pack's fairly empty, and he picks
Yeah.
it up immediately. And it's also good that he picked up two drops this early, because he can really get the train rolling if you go turn 2 Handicraft and turn 3 creature, pay a mana, and so on. Just
Turn
keep
3,
it
your
going.
Kujar Seed Sculptor becomes a 3/4.
Yeah, great. I've been impressed with this card. It has gotten certainly a bad rep at the start, but if you can curve out nicely with it, it's fine. And even in late game.
Electrostatic Pummeler's a fun card with that. Sorry, my seat just broke. The back just went all the way back.
Yeah, because you were so excited about the pummeler.
Yeah, I
It's
was excited
understandable.
about the Pummeler.
I mean, we also saw something larger than life, and he did take it. Yeah, he took the pummel there, and he already has a lot of energy creating card. We saw the Eternity to the Sage of Shalia's Claim and so on. Maybe he can pick up a couple more. He can go real big with the Electrostatic Pummeler. Maybe a turtle.
Yeah, Thriving Turtle's a fine card in this deck.
Yeah, I've gone down on Thriving Turtle as the more I played, which I still like the card, but it needs to be put into very specific decks. And it still can be a very solid blocker in your early turns or an energy generator.
So Tezzeret's Ambition.
Yeah, fine card.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, after seeing the semifinals, I've seen more Procata Club securities in 20 minutes than I saw during 2 days of watching the GP. And I saw Demolish, Creeping Mold, like all these cards. There's a team draft just makes you play some unorthodox cards.
Yeah, absolutely. There's Nimble Innovator. Also an acrobatic maneuver, but he's not interested in that.
Yeah, I think he looks to be a nice green base, and he should be fine.
There's that larger than life you were talking about. Comes quite and you know he's thinking exactly about that Electrostatic Pummeler when he points at that card quite emphatically.
That one.
Another Tezzeret's Ambition.
Yeah, another card that gets significantly better in team draft, just because the format's slower, so you can afford to spend turn 5 just drawing 3 cards, setting up.
And the only dramatic reversal would be if someone took that before they took any other card in a pack.
Yeah. All right, so fairly straightforward. Got past the Rashmi. Green seemed fairly open from the right side. Nothing spectacular, though, like no other clear signals about what was going on there. But honestly, he just didn't see much of the other colors. And I think that this will make Márcio be quite content, because he wasn't really passing anything that special to his left where Frank Karsten was sitting.
No, it's set up to be a pretty exciting green-blue energy deck if the right cards are there in the next couple packs. And can also just make all of his creatures like one notch better with the Durable Handicraft.
Yeah, for me it's especially interesting watching this draft, because I was actually standing there watching Frank draft live, because this is a playback already, and now seeing Márcio's pick, like things start to make sense. It's always this way. It's like an epiphany once you see, oh, he took this, that's why he could pass this, and so on.
All right, so what is well, there's an Arborback Stomper.
No synergy needed for a solid 5/5 that gains life. Yeah, instantly smashes it. Yeah, not a great pack overall. I quite like the Fateful Showdown. I know it's not been that popular among some players, but can finish off games, or you can cash in your hand for something better.
Yeah, especially there's decks that really top out at 4 or 5 mana that you don't need to play all your extra lands.
Exactly. Yeah. I especially like it in really cheap decks, like because the boards can stall out, and getting more gas is good while removing something as well. And it's also like this format doesn't have that much burn that can do to face. Like there's no lava X, there's no X spells,
right?
And so this is like an extra effect that people don't count with.
Well, wow, there's a couple cards here. There's an Imperial Voyager.
Yes, goes well into a blue-green deck.
There's a Self-Assembler. He's thinking about that. There's the Error of Innovation. He's going to take the Imperial Voyager.
Yeah, I mean,
2/3 flyer, trampler,
Yeah, it's a flyer. It gives you energy. I mean, he doesn't have that many good energy sinks, so maybe he's hoping the Air of Innovation makes it round. He could use that to his advantage, but maybe there's some other
just
payoff.
as a draw 3, you see it.
Yeah. And I'm sure he can find a way for it to generate energy as well. Remember, he picked up that attune with Ether, so even if he opens like a World Virtuose to go along with that, I mean, he did pick a Voyager here, but yeah. Something like Dynamo Tower would be sweet.
How about an Armorcraft Judge?
Also fine. Ether Theory is good as well. All right, this pack's decent for Márcio.
Armorcraft Judge plays really nicely with Durable Handicraft, though.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And in fact, even with no other creatures on the board in a Durable Handicraft, you can draw a card with the Judge if you stack it correctly so that you get the counter and then you get the card draw trigger.
Yeah, I think Márcio was looking at the Minister of Inquiries.
Oh, he takes the Aether Theorist.
Yeah,
here.
he takes the Theorist though, which I like. It's just an overall very solid creature, and he can find his Rashmi sooner and so on.
Sure.
But I think he was eyeing the Minister of Inquiries to wheel it and maybe play it because it is an energy generator, and it can also win you the game in those long games if you manage to stall the board. And I think he's going to pick a Windrake here. And I don't think it's going to be a good card in his deck.
Weirdly, it never seems to be that great a card in the blue decks.
No. Surprising because Windrake used to be quite good in some formats.
Yeah. Takes the Windrake. Still some exciting cards in there. We saw some great stuff with an Etherflux Reservoir this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
In Team Sealed. I don't think anyone's going to be doing that here today, but... Wow, Visionary. Wow, White is wide open here at this table.
A Self-Assembler as well in that pack.
And we've seen another one earlier in the pack here.
Some people might be eyeing those. I think Márcio might be the one to take it first. Remember in Team Draft only 6 people, so a couple of some less boosters compared to regular draft, so fewer self-assembling going on.
Yep, does take the self-assembler. Puts a down payment.
So much white though.
And I wonder if that's a situation where multiple people see that in a row and then all go in that direction.
Yeah.
There's an Inventor's Fair.
Okay.
Sage of Shalia's Claim.
Yeah, High Tide Hermit as well if he wanted to generate some more energy at the top end. I don't think that he's going to take the Hermit after taking the self-assembler as well. Even though I don't think he wants that many cheap creatures. He already has the Ether Theorist, the Seed Sculptor, the Sage, so the Hermit makes sense.
It's a Revolutionary Rebuff, nice little sideboard card. Could hate draft that Incendiary Sabotage if he wanted.
No, just there's some okay cards, but just nothing from Márcio's deck. And it's also hard to hate draft a card out of this pack.
Yeah.
He's going for Build to Last,
sure.
which I like. He passed a lot of white cards, so it's very likely the player to his right is white. So by taking white card, he's maybe making sure that he won't get a playable.
So there's a Wild Wanderer.
Well, that's fine. He doesn't have anything to splash yet, but there's still a pack to come.
Yeah.
We talked about the World Virtuoso. He can easily now play the Skywell shot that he first picked.
Absolutely. All right. There's that Minister of Inquiries.
I think he's going to take it. I'm pretty sure he will.
You saw him eyeing it earlier. Like, well, if it's still in the store when I come back.
No, he doesn't take it. He goes for Ornamental Courage. I mean, I understand. He needs some cheap tricks. His deck is very heavy on creatures, so he needs something else going on. I think the Core Power is going to be good.
Yeah?
I think it might be actually quite good in his deck so far.
I mean, he can get to it on turn 5. It's
that's one of the, another Core Prowler.
And another larger than life, depending on which way he wants to go with his combo.
I don't think he's going to play the Prowler combo, unfortunately for us. But yeah, it's one of the interactions that, like the green cards that people don't want. The Wild Wanderers and the Core Prowlers, they actually combine really well together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you scoffed at me earlier this weekend when you saw someone running Morbid Curiosity. There's certainly worse things than getting a Wild Wanderer, getting value out of it, getting a land, and then sacrificing it for 4 new cards, especially if in team draft. But I mean, not that Mars is going to do some Morbid Curiosity here. Firmly blue-green.
Blue-green with a very easy to support white splash.
Yeah, his deck's looking okay. I'm just wondering if
The payoff doesn't seem to be super high.
not yet. No, that's why I think he's pulling the core prowler, because he's realizing that he needs some win conditions in this deck. Like the early cards are just basically some early defense. The durable handicraft is the strong one. He still has the electrostatic pummeler there, but I assume it's because he just has so much
energy.
So much energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He needs some sort of payoff, and he can make it work. He has the durable handicraft. He still has a larger than life there. Yeah, he has enough playables. I think that's the big advantage for Márcio. There's no pressure on him. We saw some other players draft, and they're like scrapping for playables. Like, I need something going on here. He just has a solid blue-green deck there.
What do you want to see here in Pack 3, Matej? What's the card you want right now if you're Márcio Carvalho?
I wouldn't mind Long Tusk Cub. I wouldn't mind Nature's Way, maybe like a Hunt a Week, just some sort of removal. Or just any bomb. Basically anything. He can fix it. Like Repairing Tiger is fine already. Filigree Familiar is okay. Oh.
How about a Cultivator of Blades?
Okay, decent. I could live with that. Especially if he's trying to go with the pumping theme, right?
Yeah, and you said he also just had you felt like his deck was all creatures. Well, it's a good card with a deck with all creatures.
Yeah, that's great. Especially he has the larger than life, and I'm sure he can pick up some different pump spells. What? What do you mean?
Oh, that's gross.
No, it's great.
Yeah, no, it is.
No, the cultivators. People seem to think it was bomb at first, but then it turned out to be not that great in the end, because it plays a little awkwardly. Where if you get the servos, its power is too small to attack to really make it an efficient attacker. But it's still a good card, and I think it suits Márcio's deck. You can start cutting those core prowlers.
We'll take Brawler. Probably not going to splash red. High Spire Artisan, nice card. Select for Inspection, something that
I think he's going to take
does
it.
good work.
Yeah. Just the High Spire Artisan is fine.
It might still be there even when it comes back around the table.
That card is. I like the card, but it just needs a specific deck. It's not like a lot of the white fabricate cards like the Propel Pioneer and Glint-Sleeve Artisan, where they're just good creatures on their own. Whereas the Artisan just really doesn't work in some decks. Select for Inspection is nice because it's cheap. It can also help him maybe be a little tricky, rebuy some of his cards if he really needs to.
Okay. So there's another select. Wow, there's another Voltaic Brawler.
Jeez, like if someone's in red-green, he's going to be happy.
Takedown's a nice sideboard card to have.
And this pack's not great for Márcio.
He's looking at the second Select for Inspection, though.
That's fine. Takedown is also a decent sideboard card, but he might play the Select for Inspection main deck. And I mean, he now has cheap interaction with the opponent. That's something that his deck was lacking. So, I mean, it's not the hard removal that we talked about as something that he would like to have, but it's still decent enough.
Paradoxical Outcome. There's another Wild Wanderer.
That's a good pack coming late. Wild Wanderer, Dukar P-File, as well as the Ether Trade Winds.
Yeah, Glint Sleeve Artisan is a card he's got sorted up to the front. Okay, he's pushed it back.
I like the Paradoxical Outcome, but this is not the deck for it.
No.
There wasn't an Aetherflux
I was just
Reservoir.
going to say there was a reservoir.
Brian, over this weekend, I've learned some things from you, so I think I know how you think now.
There's a second copy of Durable Handicraft.
Okay.
There's also an appetite for the Unnatural.
No, I think the double handicraft would certainly be nice. As we talked about, he has a lot of creatures. It's can be great with the Cultivator of Blades in late game. That's actually really gross. If you ever get to that point.
Right.
Cultivate, make some 1/1 servos, pay some mana, and next turn just sack the handicraft, put everything swing. Yeah, I like living in a magical Christmas land.
Sure. Who doesn't like presents? There's a Janjit Sentry.
Solid. Another P-Foul. And another Select. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, Janjit Sentry's fine.
I actually have had situations where I used Janjit Sentry on my own creature to tap it so I could select for inspection.
Yeah, exactly.
So I could save it from a removal spell.
Yeah. I mean, Márcio has that Rashmi that can just win him a couple of games just by churning through his deck.
Right.
Even though he's a little short on win condition, I think he's gonna like the Repairing Tiger.
Yeah,
though.
Repairing Tiger. That's a fairly
payoff.
late pickup there for him.
Yeah, he will be very happy about that because he had a couple of other 5 and 6 drops, and I think Tiger's just the best out of the options that he has.
Yeah, he shouldn't be short for energy.
No,
And even as a 4/4 trampler, that card is pretty formidable.
definitely.
So there's that High Spire Artisans.
And made his way, and the Voltaic Brawler as
Yeah,
well.
the Brawlers are just...
Yeah, but no one's red green. That's fairly obvious now.
They're just homeless in this draft.
Yeah. And that's what happens sometimes, We also saw the Restoration Gearsmith. Oh, you need a white-black deck for that. Sometimes the blue decks,
Yeah.
do stuff with the Prophetic Prisms and they find a home. But
The Gear Seeker Serpent decks, right? Because they already have like 2
exactly.
Prophetic Prisms.
yeah, and there's the Brawler again. Takedown for the sideboard, I think. Yeah.
Okay, now he's going to take the takedown. We're in the sideboard phase of the draft. You see a bunch of sideboard cards going around. Fragmentizes.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Voltaic Brawlers is that if they come in pack 3, no one's going to jump on that train this late. Ooh, Ether Tradewind still.
Also a revolutionary rebuff card. I've seen a number of teams playing in sealed and draft.
Yeah.
Main deck and possibly sideboard.
Yeah, I think he's going to run in the sideboard. I don't think he's going to have it in main deck. Just a couple of late cards. Yeah, I think I think the biggest advantage of for Márcio's deck is that he just has a lot of playable cards.
Yeah.
And the packs weren't that great, which makes me think that for Márcio, I mean, it's good news that he might play against weaker decks. It could be also bad news if his teammates have bad decks, Like, guys, I took all the good cards. Like, oh, man, I would have played that, the well-fast Wingsmith. Should have just passed it.
Demolition Stomper. Yeah, and you remember these guys will get to sit down and talk about what they passed.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's going on here? So he might find out there's a bomb that got passed to his opponent, and he's like, you know what, I am going to run this revolutionary rebuff main deck.
Yeah. It's not like the previous draft where Márcio had 2 Nissa Vital Forces.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's just highly unlikely. And, yeah. Good draft from Márcio Carvalho, I feel. The deck's okay. For a team draft, I think it's good.
Right. You think it's like a B deck and maybe a C+ pool
Yeah, pretty much.
Of packs that were
Yeah,
open?
yeah. Considering how the first couple packs broke down, he has some power. He has some consistency. He can go long. He has some tricks. I mean, definitely, I like his deck.
Players watching him play, what's something that they can look for? They're like, okay, this is happening. I know that Márcio's deck is functioning and is in a position to win. Like, what's something people can look for to latch onto as kind of a key to his victory?
Well, one of his best cards would be Rashmi. Like, if that's probably his best bet, just jamming it on turn 4 and then just stringing spells together while it's in play. But also just stabilize the board early with the handicrafts, a couple of cheap creatures, and then either go big at the end of the game with those Core Prowlers, the Repairing Tiger, or the Cultivator of Blades that he picked up, and just try to go big and wide at the same time.
All right.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, what are the things that are, when you are a blue-green deck like that, he doesn't have a lot. He doesn't have any Hunt the Weeks.
No.
He's got 1 Sky Whaler shot. What are the things that he's really scared of facing?
I think he's very scared of facing aggressive decks that with removal. I can see if he's not able to hold down the forwards long enough, he might just not get to live. And also, I think he's a little weak to flyers, and I think that's why he was probably pretty happy to see the High Spire Artisan late.
All right, let's see what is going to be surrounding his fort. We're going to watch his opponent draft right now.
Yeah.
All right, we're watching the draft of Brent Vos. And Brent is going to be playing against Márcio Carvalho. We've already seen his deck. It is green-blue. It's got Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter. It's got 2 durable handicrafts. It's got a lot of big creatures, but it also has some vulnerabilities. Let's see where Brent ends up and if he is able to put a victory together for his team.
Yeah. Brent, it's qualified for his Pro Tour by virtue of this top 4. Well, now top 2. Frank was really excited to get him on the Pro Tour, and Brent was very nervous before the top 4. He said, I didn't draft this format. I don't know what is a team draft. I have no idea. So and he was just given a very quick rundown from Frank Karsten and the national champion Thomas Hendricks. Okay, just calm down. This is what you do. You saw what the good cards were this weekend. Just pick the good cards.
Pick the good cards. It sounds so simple when you say it like that, Matej.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of bad cards. So no, like honestly, like what it comes down to is what we saw. Things like Precauda Club Security getting a lot more play. Just it's 4-mana 3/4. You don't need any synergy for it. You don't need to dirtle around. It's just solid body. And same for something like Core Prowler.
I was just gonna say, Core Prowler is a card we've definitely seen impact the board very, very significantly, and really be a problem for people to either get around or put enough things in front of.
Yeah. But even like things like Self-Assembler, yeah, just solid if you can ever manage to pull another one. And actually in this draft, spoiler alert, I mean, we're not going to throw the draft. Frank Karsten actually second picked the Wayward Giant.
Oh, interesting.
Because he first picked a red card, second pack was somewhat weak, he didn't want to commit to a second call of the options that he had. So like, yeah, Wayward Giant it is. I like my 5-drop. And I think it's solid in team draft.
Yeah. I think he also 12th picked a Wayward Giant.
Yeah,
At some
that's
pack
true.
later on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there were 3 cards left in pack. One was Wayward Giant. I'm like, oh god.
But in the meantime, we're getting ready to watch Brent. So I remember as this was happening, there was one of the players had a pack that kind of spilt out a little bit. The judges had to fix everything, get it sorted out. That was the little bit of the delay here at the start of the draft. But now they are counting out their packs. That glorious sound of people flicking out 14 cards onto the table. What are they? Those anxious moments is away. Okay, let's take a look at what Brent Vos has to work with.
Ooh.
See a Renegade Freighter, see a Decoction module.
Okay, now we're fixing the camera here. Okay.
There's a Gear Seeker Serpent. And
A
Renegade
Multiform
Freighter.
Wonder.
Oh, and Multiform Wonder. Wow.
Okay.
So what do you take? Multiform Wonder or Renegade Freighter?
I take the Wonder here. I mean, it does force you into finding cards for synergy. I like how he's sorting the cards according to probably the power level he seeks. But I wouldn't blame him for taking the Freighter either, especially if he prefers aggressive decks over dirtly energy decks. But both cards are very good here. And that's part of the problem. He's going to pass one to his neighbor, his basically opponent, Frank's opponent, Javier Dominguez. So
he's like, here, have a Renegade Freighter.
But Multiform Wonder is great. Just a solid card, gives you energy, and you can give it Flying, Vigilance, Lifelink, and plus it power, toughness.
There's a Revoke Privileges and a Welding Spark and a Tidy Conclusion.
Yeah, good pack.
Wow, which direction do you want to go here?
I like the Welding Sparks the most. I think it's the best card in the pack. There's also no other red cards, which makes me think like, okay, this will send a good signal down to my left.
People have likened Welding Sparks to murder.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, usually the 3-mana deal 3 damage limited have always been playable, but since this can deal more than 3 damage, it's just very solid. I think, yeah, okay.
Don't let that Gear Report guide lead you astray.
I was scared for a second. Like he put it to the front. I'm like, oh, Brent.
Now he does take the Welding Sparks.
Yeah, it's good.
He's off to a nice start here. He's got the Multiform Wonder. He's got the Welding Sparks. How does he follow it up? Let's see. Thriving Grubs.
Yeah, Thriving Rhino.
Thriving Rhino, yeah.
This is a tough pick because he can stay on color with the grubs, or maybe he can branch out into green. There's quite a few green cards in the pack. Just Seed Sculptor as well. The Rhino would work if he would go for an energy synergy, and that's what he does go for.
Yeah, he takes the Thriving Rhino. There's a little sleight of hand with the cards he's going to pick here. I'm like, is he going to take the Seed Sculptor? Oh, no.
Yeah, the Rhino. So, I mean, he doesn't have to be red at all. He can just be green. He has the Multiform Wonder. It's always very nice. There's the Electrostatic Pummeler. That's a weak pack.
Yeah, not really anything exciting in this pack. Ambitious Aetherborn, Emerald Bruiser, and Foundry Screecher are pretty much the
best cards, yeah.
Best cards. I mean, depending on how you feel about Electrostatic Pummeler.
I mean, you can have that and the Multiform Wonder. Certainly could be a nice energy artifact deck. But, I'm not sure here. What is he like? Okay, he goes for the Artisan.
High Spire Artisan sneaks in under the Ambitious Aetherborn.
Yeah, interesting. I think he just might be thinking, like, okay, then haven't seen anything red, really, after taking the Welding Spark, so the play to my right might just be red. Took a better red card than Welding Sparks maybe early. Okay, so he's still trying to figure out what he's doing.
But he's thinking about that Kujar Seed Sculptor, no doubt.
He can stay in green. It's certainly not a problem. That would be his third green card.
And interestingly, this would be the same second draft we've watched today where the players who are going to be playing each other both end up
And
in at least one of the same colors.
yeah, in a very similar archetype as well. All right. Oh, this is another weak pack.
Yeah, very weak. I kind of like Aether Trade Winds here.
Yeah, me too. I'm not sure if he wants to branch out into blue just yet, but I think it's the best card out of the pack. Because there's not much you can do. And
Yeah,
goes for
that's
it.
what he takes as well.
And, yeah, I like Aether Trade Winds. It can really do a great job. Can be really tricky. Oh, that's a late decoction module. I mean, I think he opened it. I think this is the pack he opened.
Yeah, but he's also looking at that hazardous conditions.
It can work in a in a green-black deck if you have like the energy theme. You have your thriving rats, your thriving rhinos, and whatnot. But that's a very late decoction module. I think he'll be very happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Plays really well with the Multiform Wonder.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. He can protect it at all times, and generate some more energy. Oh, the Gear Pro Guide made its way all the way through, and I think he liked it before, so I think he's going to take it here.
Yep, he does take the Gear Report Guide.
Yeah, solid, almost basically mono green deck so far. He has the Welding Sparks, he has the Trade Winds. He can go either way. He can play both.
And there are some matchups where your opponent's just really looking to hide buy some turns behind a couple of servos.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I'm sorry.
You might still think about black. He saw some black cards. But he looks like he likes the blue. Oh no!
Decided to cut an
charge.
Inspired Charge.
Interesting. He maybe just wants to hate draft it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking there.
Another rebuff.
There's the rebuff he didn't take last turn.
Yeah, at this point I think he should take the Gambit. I always like having one Tezzard's Gambit in my sideboard, at least if I'm playing my blue deck.
He went with the Woodweaver's Puzzle out instead.
Okay. Another one maybe?
There is another one if he wants it, but instead he takes the Eddie Trailhawk. So clearly cutting some cards off from his opponent.
More
Another
Inspired
Inspired Charge.
Passing and start your engines.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen that card put to very good use this weekend.
Then Renegade Tactics, both sort of the same thing. Both sort of cycle. Both get a blocker out of the way. And a Tassel Dromedary to round out the pack. Let's take a look at where he is at the end of pack 1.
Not great.
Green-blue, not great.
I mean, he's green.
Right, he could be green-white, actually.
Yeah, he could be. He could try to go for it, and I mean, he could have some synergies. Yeah, his creature base is okay, nothing spectacular, but he does have the Multiform Wonder. I think is great for him, and he just needs direction.
Now, if you looked at this deck now, and then look forward to what you watch in the other drafts with the Voltaic Brawlers going around.
Yes.
Would you be a little surprised that they didn't all end up in his deck?
Yeah, I guess because he didn't see much red here.
Yeah.
I know why, because I watched Frank draft. So yeah, he just didn't see much red, and I think pack 2 is going to solidify him in his second color. Very likely to be blue or white, from what we've seen so far. And I just think that by the time he sees a Voltaic Brawler, it's going to be too late.
All right, there's a veteran Gearsmith. Make obsolete. Pretty nice. Oh, there's that Renegade Freighter they didn't take earlier.
I think it's going to be pretty good in his deck. It's just a very good card overall, and he already picked up the Seed Sculptor, the Thriving Rhino, and so on. So he no problems with his creature base, and it's just a very powerful card. People are talking about it's the best common alongside Welding Sparks, and people are having a hard time decide what they want to pick.
And he is, this time he does take the Renegade Freighter. He's opened 2 of them, taken 1 of them.
Yeah. I mean, but Multiform Wonder,
Yeah.
You have to understand.
So here we go. Another power. Oh, there's a Cloud Blazer. There's a Revoked Privileges.
Ugh, so much white.
Wow, there's a veteran.
Yeah. Visionary Augment, Self-Assembly.
Yeah.
Cloud Blazer as well, with the Aetherborn Marauder. And yeah, this is a tough pack because he doesn't have any green, and now comes the hard decision. Which way does he want to go? He looks like he's liking the Aetherborn Marauder. There's a lot of white
still. He does have those 2 Inspired Charges like lurking somewhere in the back of his deck. if he wanted to go white. He's going to take the revoke privileges, though, just
Sure.
the strictly better card if he's going to be white.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a removal spell. Let's see if he sees more white cards.
Wow, how about an
Oh,
aerial responder? White.
that's
you
a
said-
payoff.
You said, yes, exactly. You said he is going to figure out what his second color here is based on what comes to him. It might be blue, it might be white. And you see him getting past multiple white cards last pack, and now an aerial responder. One of the premier uncommons in this set, and one of the sort of highlights of being a white drafter in this format.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, now it shows you why those Voltaic Brawler didn't
Yeah.
start to wheel, because Brent just abandoned red completely. He has the developing sparks, but aerial response very nice, and he's building a solid green-white deck. What it looks like, at least for now. At least white seems open on this side of the table, which is great for him.
Huh?
A very weak
Now
pack
there's
though.
nothing.
Takedown for his side. Well, I think build to last is okay.
Yeah. Yeah, takedown, built to last. He could
Ugh.
D up something if he wanted to take a Wayward Giant out of the pack and maybe dip his toe back into red.
Yeah, it's like one of the worst things. Like you get like a great card. You're like, oh, I'm taking this color now. It's open. I'm doing great, and then you're like, oh, nothing in the next pack.
He does take the takedown instead, though. Just remains a little disciplined and takes a sideboard card.
Wild Wanderer could help out a little bit if he decides to take it. It's also Era of Innovation.
Fragmentize.
Yeah, Wild Wanderer is fine. Bowman Courier might make a red drafter happy. Self-Assembler, sure. He didn't. I don't think he took one of those earlier.
He did not. No, he ended up. He was toying with it, but ended up passing it. Now he's going to pull the trigger on it.
I mean, 5 mana 4/4. Like, so you can certainly do worse.
Right? Might get another one back out of this pack. Might see more later on in the draft.
I think though it's not that great in green-white, but yeah, you do what you got to do. And yeah, Captured by Consulate is a good removal spell. Ooh.
What a glint sleeve artisan.
Yeah, white seems open. Again, still, and now he's reading it. Enchanted creature can't attack. Yeah, but
You have that card against over like a top weight common like glint sleeve artisan.
I think it's close. The fact that it's cost 4 mana and the creature can still block is not where you want to be in an aggressive deck, and I think that's what Brent Vos is trying to build here. So
Choosing here between a Bastion Mastodon and a Core Prowler.
I think he should go with the Mastodon, and he does. Yeah, I think Captured by the Council is good in like defensive white, black, and blue-white decks. Not that great in white, red, and white, green. Even though I do like the card. It's much better when you have evasion, basically.
So plenty of Core Prowlers to go around. There's a Toolcraft Exemplar. There's a Skywhirl Harrier.
Yeah, I would take the Harrier here. Even though he has to be really careful about his top end, he's starting to have a lot of 5-drops here. So I think I would prefer Harriers over Self-Assemblers.
Yeah. Over singular
Yes,
Self-Assembler.
yes. That's what I meant.
It's going to take the Inventor's Fair here. Doesn't really have enough in the way of flying to use the Torch Gauntlets.
Oh, it's a couple of late cards. Nothing really exciting in these picks. Again, like the last 5-6 picks, they barely offer anything.
He's going to take the Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot.
Late Fragmentize for
Yeah.
the sideboard. Okay, that's nice. He could even play main deck. I'm sure he'll find some target. That's
And again, gets to talk to his teammates, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, he definitely has this.
yeah.
You know, I definitely passed him a Renegade Freighter.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, okay.
Ninth Bridge Patrol also could be playable, even though maybe not in his deck.
Reservoir Renegade Tactics.
No Aetherflux
The age-old dilemma.
Oh, he passed it.
Takes the Renegade Tactics. Was that a last pick larger than life, or was that the fog?
Yeah, I didn't see. I think we'll get a peek now.
Let's see, so I'll show you 45 seconds.
Yeah, it was Legend Life. Yeah, you have good eyes.
Yeah, that's
All right. Well, okay, so he almost only picked white cards in this pack.
Right.
So green cards in the first pack, white cards in the second pack. I think he's going to get on the green train again in pack 3.
The only green cards he saw in this pack were core prowlers, really.
Yeah, basically. And
he had better options each time.
Like, his deck is not looking fantastic, but it's fine. What I think he needs to be careful about is the number of 2-drops. He has a lot of 3s, 4s, and 5s, especially 3s and 5s. So he better pick up some more 2-drops, which shouldn't be a problem in green-white. There's usually quite a few.
Yeah, Aviary Mechanic card we've talked about a bunch. Is a
I
nice
like
pickup.
it. That card is very
Narnum
good.
Cobra is a card that's overperformed for people this weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I see a Trusty Companion hanging out at the top of that pack.
Yeah, Snarethopter, Glainsleeve Artisan.
Wow, that's a good pack.
He'll certainly find a playable this one. Yeah, nothing special though at the back. So I think he can either go for the Snarethopter or the Glainsleeve Artisan. I don't think he should pick the Trusty Companion here. Right, so what he's going to go with, I think, yeah.
He's not sure.
Yeah.
Right. This is right now in his head. He's like sort of calculating how many cards he has at each spot in his curve.
I think I would go with Artisan though. I would not want to pick the Trusty Companion.
Yeah. Brent Vos does take the Trusty Companion.
I think that this one is just a little bit of an experience. I don't think he's played with or against the card that much.
Sure.
I think both of the other cards were significantly better. He doesn't have any equipment, any vehicles.
There's a Riparian Tiger, Durable Handicraft, Appetite for the Unnatural.
Pressure points. Ugh. I mean, he already has so many 5s. The Riparian Tiger is not really making me any happier.
There's also a Prophetic Prism in the pack if he wants to maybe think about whether or not he can splash that Welding Sparks.
Yeah, or maybe Ether Trade Winds and something else. And it's a true drop, at least. It fills a role in the deck. You can go for it. And I mean, the rest of the pack is just very unexciting.
And he takes the Prophetic Prism. Okay.
Yeah. The big problem for Brent is we saw Márcio's draft, and I think Márcio's deck will line up really well against what Brent is trying to do here.
Just if the game goes at all long, it's just it's really good. Wow, there's a Pima Outrider. You said green would be there for him in this pack. There's a premium green common.
Yeah. And as we're looking at the packs now, when we're watching the draft, we know that Luis Salvatto is actually in blue-white, so that's why there were no white cards, not many white cards in the packs 1 and 3, there's no green drafters until Márcio Carvalho to Brent Vos's right, so that's why the green is flowing now again. Yeah, the problem for Brent Vos here being that I don't think he has look.
There's an Aviary Mechanic. Another Prophetic Prism.
I mean,
another Riparian Tiger.
Yeah, I mean, now at this point, when he picked up the first Prism, now he can play 2. And, maybe play both. Maybe play the Welding Sparks. Mechanic is also very good, though, and he needs a 2-drop. Yeah.
He decides to take the 2-drop that can tussle.
Yeah, that's a good job, though.
Also can use it to reset its multiform wonder in the
in the
game.
It can be nice with the Kujra Seed Sculpture, get some value. Now he sees the Voltaic Brawler, ignores it for now.
There's a High Spire Artisan, a card his team, in fact, has shown a real predilection for. We saw a match earlier today where his teammate had 3 of them out, all with +1/+1 counters, and just bogged the game down.
Okay. Ibex.
It is going to be thriving Ibex, though. All right, guys. You know what? We're going to get a chance to watch these decks in action. We'll see how we can take a look at the deck list. You can see how the rest of the draft played out here for Brent Vos. But we are getting ready to bring you the finals of Grand Prix Rotterdam. It's going to be great. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with live magic as we determine the champion here at Grand Prix Rotterdam.
Check out Kaladesh Draft Leagues on Magic Online. Build a deck at your own pace and play at your convenience. Draft anytime, play anytime. For more information, visit mtgo.com.
Put your game to the test at a Grand Prix. These Magic celebrations are headlined by 2-day open tournaments with the best players in your region as well as top Magic pros from around the world. Find an upcoming Grand Prix near you at magic.wizards.com/Grand Prix.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 hard-fought days of Swiss competition, after our top 4 was announced and crowned, and the top of the final now comes to the final 6 people, the final 2 teams. It's time to get underway in the feature match area with the final of GP Rotterdam. Let's get to it. Welcome, my friends, to live coverage of GP Rotterdam. This is the final. It all ends here. Riley Knight alongside the Pro Tour champion Simon Goertzen in the booth. And ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to you to our feature match area for the very last time today. Brent Vos, Frank Karsten and Bas Melis have made it all the way to the final of the home Grand Prix for them. Proud Dutchmen all flying the flag of the Netherlands. But Javier Dominguez, Márcio Carvalho and Luis Salvatto are here to take the trophy from the hometown heroes, and all 6 of these wizards will be doing their best, slinging their spells and fighting these mighty battles to emerge victorious. Simon Goertzen, we've just seen the draft between these 2 players, and now we're underway.
Yeah, green-white against green-blue. Márcio is on the draw here, but curving out really nicely. Both of these decks accumulating energy. We can expect the blue-green deck to make a bit better use of it, though.
Eddie Tailhawk, the first card to get into the red zone here, getting across for 1 and poking Carvalho down to 19. Ether Theorist, widely touted as the top blue common here. It's generated Carvalho. A little bit of energy, but we're going to see Vos once again on the front foot. His hand looks absolutely stacked here as we see a Girapur guide come down. This set overloaded with 3 mana 2/3s and 3 mana 3/2s.
Vos missed his 3rd land drop, luckily finding it here. Wants to even go to 4 and 5 with his hand. Márcio, on the other hand, skipped his 3rd drop, not land drop, but didn't cast a 3 drop. So pretty evenly matched, I would say.
Highspire Artisan comes down as a 1/4 reach here for the Portuguese player. And it's back to Vos now to find a way through. He does find land number 4 in the form of a plane, so hopefully no more mana issues for him. I see Thriving Ibex. And it looks like that might be the play here. In fact, 2 copies of Thriving Ibex in the hand of Brent Vos. Nice little role player, the Ibex, but really not the sort of all-star card that we've seen dominating this weekend, Simon.
True.
Carvalho sends a card underground, thanks to the Ether Theorist.
Once again, reach being really important here. Otherwise, the Eddie Tailhawk could have easily picked up the Girapur guy to deal 4 damage.
Arborback Stomper here now, gaining Carvalho 5 life and leaving behind a respectable body as well. Comparisons to Thragtusk not completely irrelevant here. 5/4 is certainly a huge beating.
Vos found his land, so that is going for him. His creatures don't line up really well against Carvalho's side of the board. 3 power flyers are not really what you want to be casting for 5 mana.
And Brent takes a moment to consider how he's going to navigate this. Carvalho, as we saw in the draft, picked up a couple of nice ones, a couple of Rashmi Eternity Crafter, in addition to, I saw a few of those enchantments flying around as well, bolstering his team with +1/+1 counters.
Vos is deciding if he wants to deploy Multiform Wonder this turn, which is usually a good idea. It's just not clear how much it's going to really do on this battlefield.
So the Multiform Wonder does take to the skies like no other creature. It can hit for 5 in the air with lifelink as well. And it's gained a bunch of energy as well. We see a D12 come in, the much maligned D12, not used very often. Obviously, barbarians in D&D would be the people rolling those ones more often than anyone else. But here it's keeping track of Vos's energy. Ed the Theorist, scrying once again for Carvalho here.
It looks like I was mistaken. The green-white deck is actually much more heavily energy-focused than Carvalho's, at least from what we're seeing right now. Carvalho content to just fix his draws by scrying with all this energy.
So down goes one card again, thanks to the other Theorist. Carvalho really squeezing as much value out of those cards as he can. Seems like he's used the Theorist a bunch of times here. Obviously the Attune with Ether, bolstering his energy reserve. And in comes the Arborback Stomper. That's a nice clean hit for 5. Going to knock Brent Vos down to 15. And the follow-up play here is the Durable Handicraft, of which there are 2 copies in Carvalho's deck, as we saw during his draft. So this means that creatures played off-curve come in with a +1/+1 counter, and that's much more relevant in this set than it has been in others.
Yeah, there are a lot of synergies surrounding +1/+1 counters, but also the way these creatures line up, it's often the big differentiator if you can go up to this 4 or 5 points of power or toughness, because suddenly all your creatures, all the opposing creatures will just feel really tiny.
Yeah,
compared to
they'll
what you're
be
doing.
dwarfed by the huge green monsters that Carvalho is looking to play here. And green-blue as well, a color combination that's just been so impressive throughout this weekend.
I agree, and had Vos blocked the Arborback Stomper there, he would have run into a combat trick very easily. So instead, he decides to take things to a race, as we've seen so many times this weekend.
And if there's one card that's excellent in a racing situation, it's Multiform Wonder. This card jumps into the air, grabs lifelink turns energy into lifelink here, and this could be huge. But it's going to be what looks like an Ornamental Courage, untapping the Arborback Stomper, and that's going to provide Carvalho with a good opportunity to block here.
Yeah, so that's a 6/6 blocking the Wanderer.
I think it's even bigger than that. It may even be a 6/7 here. +1/+3 thanks to the Ornamental Courage means that the 5/4 grows to truly monstrous proportions here. It's going to start wrecking stuff like a bull in a china shop, and we're going to see a response here from Brent Vos, and it's Inspired Charge as well. So Brent Vos without his definitely has something to say here to the play from Carvalho. Not quite enough to make the Girapur Guide trade with the Arborback Stomper, but all the same, we're going to see some activations of the Multiform Wonder here. Lifelink, I imagine, would be pretty high on the agenda. Always so sweet to get those huge life swings in. We see now another energy gets spent, and we'll have confirmation of exactly which modes are being selected in a short amount of time.
Yeah, we might have to do the math ourselves, but we'll see, for example, if Vos gains life this turn. Not going to be relevant at all.
No, Carvalho has another trick here in a select for inspection.
Keeps the card on top as well.
Yeah, not a good sign for his opponent. So that Arborback Stomper cleans up the Girapur Guide.
Really smart block there by Carvalho.
Yeah.
He blocked a 3-power creature so that even an Inspired Charge would not be enough on its own.
Yep, that Ornamental Courage making sure the Arborback Stomper lives to fight another day. And look at that. Wreck your face once again. And another follow-up with a huge fatty. Here's a Cowl Prowler as well. 6 mana, 6/6. Simple as that. And Carvalho, like a bull in a china shop, is really taking the fight to Brent Vos.
Also playing extremely quickly. He left a land on top because he knew that he had the 6-drop, but also wants to be able to activate Durable Handicraft once he runs out of creatures.
Yeah, so we haven't seen Durable Handicraft do anything at the moment. But the Gavany Township mode active on that card as soon as Carvalho untaps here. And now the question remains, what will Vos do? Still a bunch of energy in his reserve here. So able to still gain some value from the Multiform Wonder.
I expect the Wander to come down with the much more modest plan of just trading with Arborback Stomper. then you still have to worry about the worm and your life total, because you're not winning the race. You dealt with high prioritism, but you didn't deal with the real problems on this board.
And blue, which is such an unorthodox choice in this format, is so well paired with the green cards, the massive beaters here. We see Sky Swirl Harrier come down, the 3/4 in the air, and Ether Theorist scrying once again. So Carvalho all out of energy here, but kept a card on top, so he obviously likes what he sees. We're going to see some blocks lined up now. As Vos considers, looks like it'll be the double block, and then are we going to see a jump on the Prowler? So Carvalho might be ushering his opponent through the blocking step as quickly as possible. He can obviously smell blood in the water here. Carvalho taking on the role of a shark. Not the first time he's done it, I'm sure.
Vos is wondering whether he should already start chump blocking to prevent the 6 point of damage that the worm is threatening. Wow.
And another one here. Look at this. Just monster after monster for Carvalho. Ripping absolute pepperoni off the top of his library here. It is a Riparian Tiger here. And coming down as a 5/5, attacking as a 7/7. Can Vos find a way out here? Carvalho in an extremely commanding position and looking to take the first game, as his teammate Luis Salvatto has done against Bas Melis.
Such a beefy deck. We haven't really seen this.
No.
The really large green creatures win in that fashion.
Yeah, really underdrafted, I would say, the huge green monsters here. Not a lot of people respecting the Cow Prowler. Obviously, Riparian Tiger got a lot of press over the weekend. Really one of the standout cards for me across the tournament here.
But also, at the same time, I'm not too impressed with what Brent Vos has brought to the table. Green-White needs, in my opinion, more clear synergies to actually fight against the stronger decks of the format.
Carvalho draws. No scrying for him. Has a quick check on the card, but he's going to be much more interested in the combat step here, which is exactly where he goes. And now, the Tiger. No energy in Carvalho's pull, so it looks to have been used on the Tiger here.
This is almost threatening lethal already because of the trample on the Tiger.
So we see a nice big block here coming down from Brent Vos. And what does Vos have to do? What to say here? We see Multiform Wonder first, Thriving Ibex second.
The cards that allowed Carvalho to enable these fat monsters were really cheap cards. Ornamental Courage and Select for Inspection made all of this possible.
So we see an activation of Multiform Wonder. Of course, the card can gain either Vigilance, First Strike, or Lifelink. Sorry, Vigilance, Flying, or Lifelink here. Or alternatively, +2, -2, or -2, +2.
Yeah, we would expect some extra power to be generated.
You would think so. And Lifelink as well, I would say. So players sorting out the dust as it settles now on this particular combat step.
Okay. It seems like there was some confusion about the damage being dealt by the Tiger, because I believe that the Wanderer had 1 toughness.
So Vos goes to 3 now. Wild Wanderer comes in as a 4/3, and here we see the durable handicraft really getting it done for the Portuguese player. Vos. See a land in his hand. 2 other non-land cards I saw very briefly there. And Carvalho with the white splash as well, Zimon. Mild seismic activity here at GP Rotterdam. Seems to be localized just on the feature match area as Pima Outrider comes down with a servo token. That's going to be a useful way to keep the 6/6 at bay. And now a Thriving Ibex. 2 more energy for Vos, and it's back to Carvalho.
Who at least doesn't have a Trampler anymore.
So again, relentlessly getting into the red zone here with his creatures. That Ether Theorist hanging out just to watch the watch from afar. And now Vos once again hellbent at this point, having to block.
No easy way to block a 4/3. So even more difficult to kill the worm here. Actually, 3, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you would have to block the worm with all of your creatures, but then you would be dead to the unblocked creature, so that was not an option.
The Wild Wanderer, as it happens, hits the bin. Pima Outrider and Eddie Tailhawk, the only remaining creatures for Brent Vos, as he draws a land. So Core Prowler now threatens to really run away with this game, as it has threatened to from the very beginning. I mean, that situation, I think, is well and truly where we're at. Perhaps not running away with the game, slithering away for sure. Squirming away. Eddie Tailhawk jumping in the way of the Cow Prowler, and now we see a 3-3 Windrake come down. Does Vos have what it takes to beat it? Glintsleeve Artisan suggests he does not, and Brent Vos packs it up. And the team to the right of your screen, Dominguez, Carvalho, and Salvatto, go up in straight sets, 1, 1, and 1, unanswered by the Dutch players to the left of your screen. You can see them there, carefully considering their next moves. Two of them, it looks like Bas Melis and Luis Salvatto are already into a game 2 after a rather brief game 1, Simon.
Yeah, I'm very impressed once again by how easy Carvalho makes limited look. How he dismantled his opponent with almost no way for things to go wrong.
So Bas Melis has opened up the robot zoo here, but before you know it, the Peafowl has headed to the battlefield, or headed to the graveyard from the battlefield. The Mastodon's still sticking around. Beep boop, Robot Elephant is here, in addition to the High Spire Artisan as a 1/4. Fragmentize, a card that really, I think, warrants main deck inclusion in this format. So many artifacts running around that you care about. And Bas Melis, another player here, leaning on some artifact synergies.
Yeah, getting a forecasting cost card with it is also the largest tempo gain you can generate.
The sweetest of fruits, as we see now. Melis. Is that a Fragmentize in his hand as well, Zimon?
Potentially, yes, but not as juicy targets, I would say.
In comes the Bastion Mastodon. The Robot Elephant getting stuck in a big way. And Salvatto here is going to have to think about how he wants to block. And we're going to see 1, 2, 3. Wow, a very, very emphatic block there as he plops his creatures on top of the Mastodon.
Yeah, that's representing 5 power, and you would lose 2 creatures of your own, but at the same time you are enticing Melis to actually go for some kind of combat trick or removal spell, and then you could punish him with Select for Inspection.
So now another High Spire Artisan. We've seen Melis play this card time and time again, and it's going to be Gearseeker Serpent now for Salvatto. The cost of the 5/6 reduced by the existence of that servo token.
Melis flooding out a little bit here. We might see soon what he is holding now. He's hiding it behind his land.
Not a lot going on the side of Bas Melis here. Salvatto fiddling with his graveyard, draws a card. He's found his way to 7 mana. I can see a Fairgrounds Warden in his hand as well. What looks like a Fairgrounds Warden at least. In comes the Gearseeker Serpent. Salvatto content enough to let Melis block here.
Of course, there's nothing to fear really. If you want to continue deploying threats. No.
Passes the turn. 3 cards in hand for Salvatto. Now it's back to Melis. Now all these guys have to do is win, 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 baby, win. As we see Prophetic Prism come down. And it's drawn another land here, so Melis flooding out in a bad way. Seems to be on 3 colors. With another swamp, the draw. And has to ship the turn back. 3-color draft decks, a risky proposition in many cases, but green does have the tools to help these 3-color decks fix their mana. And he's a Cloud Blazer as well, so Luis Salvatto with a very impressive plays here. Gains 2, draws 2. Plains and an unknown card, the draw here.
Thus far, this has been one of the most lopsided matches I've seen this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't look like that the Dutch players have really had a sniff. And here's one of the cards that has been splashed for.
The fairy tale story of Frank and his friends winning their local GP seems a bit less likely now.
It's under threat here as Lawless Broker really not making an impact. Maybe this isn't a splash deck. Maybe this is just a straight up 3-color deck here. The Gear Seeker Serpent coming in for another 5. Unable to be blocked, of course, this time with the activation from Salvatto. And Bas Melis really doing the old Johnny Farnham, looking straight down the barrel of a gun. It's Fragmentized number 2. No, sorry, it was Salvatto with the Fragmentize. So Fragmentize drawn by Bas Melis, and he's going to make the... he's going to receive a Gear Seeker Serpent straight to the dome. And that'll be the first game win here for the Portuguese, the team led by the Portuguese player, Márcio Carvalho. This year's Draft Master certainly showing his stripes off here in this setting.
World champion finalist.
World champion finalist as well here, Márcio Carvalho. You see him only 1 game away from claiming the title. As Luis Salvatto moves around to offer words of wisdom and expertise to Dominguez and Carvalho. We're checking in with Dominguez now, who's playing against the Dutch Hall of Famer, the Flying Dutchman, Frank Karsten.
All of these drafters on the Dominguez Carvalho Salvatto team have been really, really high on generating early board advantage. You can see them play very, very low curves, all the cheap tricks that have been so important this weekend, and they're getting rewarded for it.
Yeah, and a lot of early pressure coming from Dominguez here. Embral Bruiser, in addition to, wow, I mean, one of the worst Torch Fiends we've seen in quite a while. Karsten, on the other hand, a huge threat in PNLR. Really, really efficient card. Much less embarrassing than Ruinous Gremlin, but it looks like Javier Dominguez is really wanting to, as you say, get on the front foot here. Embral Bruiser across for 3. And Foundry Inspector is going to help power out some more artifacts, should Dominguez have them. So the Dutch players yet to pick up a win in the final, as we see now Ether Hub generate an energy for Karsten.
Brent needs to win 2 in a row, and Frank needs to win 2 in a row. That's the reality of this final.
Javier needs to win 1, or Carvalho can also win 1. In comes the Thopter now, uncontested, ruling the skies, the little 1-1. And here we see another Lawless Broker. Karsten holding up any color of mana here with the Ether Hub. We've seen Combat Tricks play a pivotal role in matches in and out of this weekend.
The menace on Embral Bruiser, as long as Dominguez controls an artifact, makes it really difficult for Karsten to block because of the power toughness combinations that he so far had available. And now if you double block with your 2 best permanents, it's risky business.
Yeah, incredibly risky, as more or less any combat trick completely ruins you here. And there are so many in black and red that can do so much damage. Built to Smash comes to mind, Subtle Strike, Rush of Vitality amongst them.
Rush of Vitality would be insanely powerful.
And we're going to see the double block. But no, straight up trade here. PNLR trading off of the Embral Bruiser. But there's a follow-up play now. It's a Ballista Charger.
And this tells you something about how Frank sees himself this game. If you didn't feel like you were significantly behind, you wouldn't make such a dangerous double block.
No, that's right. And Karsten really sees himself as having to just get it done here, with Dominguez on the front foot with a Ballista Charger powered out by the Foundry Inspector. But Karsten with a follow-up play of a Wayward Giant. Ballista Charger, a 6/6, able to attack through the Giant once crewed. Crew costs 3, which Dominguez can certainly pay. So as we said, the tournament really resting on this game. A victory for Javier Dominguez will push his team over the edge and get them into the win zone here. They'll be chasing down that victory with great hunger. We've had a great weekend so far. I mean, all of the teams in the top 4 absolutely crushing it day in and day out across the time of the tournament.
And outside the top 4 as well. Crushing it until the top 4 started.
And now we see a Spy-Side Infiltrator join the Dominguez party.
That's the perfect card to crew your Ballista Charger.
Absolutely, when it becomes tap, doing 1 more damage here. And the Ballista Charger also able to get in for a point here and there.
At the very least, you get to kill the Thopter.
So the Spy-Side Infiltrator dealing 1 damage to Karsten, and now the Ballista Charger is going to come across. And we're going to see 1 damage pointed at the Wayward Giant.
And
that
why is that?
4-5 now.
That is,
being
of
bumped
course,
down.
to make a double block less interesting, less valuable.
A double block would mean a straight up 2-for-1 here. The Ballista Charger would trade with the Wayward Giant and the Embral Bruiser. Both of them together meaning that double blocking, an unattractive prospect for the Flying Dutchman. All the same, he's going to have to take the bait. He needs to get back in this game. And I think step one is removing that huge threat from his opponent. Karsten left with a 2-2 in the air. That's going to do some work still, but Karsten with a lot of digging, and it's very difficult to dig up in my experience.
Also, the Thopter is an artifact, so that Ruinous Gremlin might have something to snack on very, very soon. But first, let's see what Frank can play to defend himself.
A tentative attack here with the Thopter. Attacking with artifacts is what Dr. Frank is known best for. And an ambitious Etherborn comes down as well. Comes down as a 5-4.
4 toughness creature is exactly what he needed here.
Yes, it can hold off the Infiltrator in addition to the Inspector. Oh, but not after the other Torch Renegade has something to say about it. Now a Thriving Grubs as well. Karsten with a moment's breathing room thanks to the 5-4 being played here.
Yeah, he would need another 4 toughness creature so that at least the either Torch Renegade doesn't threaten to take out his whole board if he tries to block. And it can't be an artifact because then the Gremlins would take it out.
Let's munch away on it, that's right. See if Karsten can wriggle his way out of this one. Of course, let's not forget Brent Vos is also fighting for his life against Márcio Carvalho on the table opposite.
Frank should really take a page out of Kenji Tamura's book and just slam down a Demon of Dark Schemes. That's usually a good way to deal with situations like this.
We saw Samura absolutely tear his opponent to shreds with the Demon of Dark Schemes earlier in the tournament, but if Karsten has access to these, he's certainly hitting the tank about it. Seems like a good play. Though we haven't seen Karsten with anything of that nature.
Oh, the most powerful card, Pianalar, had to block. The Thopter, still alive, has been doing heavy lifting for Frank.
Karsten once again looking to be aggressive and keep his opponent honest here.
Sometimes offense is the best defense.
Sometimes defense is the best defense as well. Changes. But in this case, Karsten looking to put some pressure on his opponent here. And Dominguez has to decide how to respond.
Dominguez doesn't have attractive block, so almost forced to go down to 9. And Frank could calculate that, I assume. Passing the turn
after attacking with both of his creatures. What does he have here?
I think Javier is asking the same question.
Yeah, he's talking
literally.
actually saying, what is going on here? What is going on? As his lands explode into his lap here, picks them up and restores them into their place. Bit of fiddly farting going on with the lands of Dominguez there. And now we see... Oh, no, we don't. Keeping that card a secret to all but himself and his teammates here, Dominguez.
How likely is Frank holding 2 lands based on his behavior?
I couldn't tell you.
I wouldn't put it beyond him to just having a great big laugh.
Really making his opponent sweat it out here. He could be dead to rights, Karsten, but he's certainly making Dominguez earn this victory, as indeed you should. So how is Dominguez going to play this one out? He's also getting close to the hidden mode on Ether Torch Renegade. Only 8 mana required. Oh, sorry, 8 energy required, I should say, to deal 6 to the face. Karsten.
I would love to see an incendiary sabotage.
Hello.
From Karsten.
Incendiary Sabotage, dealing 3 damage at instant speed at the cost of sacrificing an artifact and 4 mana. Is that what Karsten has for a spectacular blowout. Looks like he's reaching for his pen after this attack. That's not a good sign for the Dutchman. See thriving Grubs gaining a counter. He picks up his cards. Does Karsten have anything at all? Dominguez very ready to note down any changes in the live totals here.
Dominguez also quite defensive, not getting in with everything there.
Brent Vos has managed to get up against Márcio Carvalho. Step 1 for the Dutch team here. A win. Step 2, 3, and 4. See step 1. So the pressure eases a little bit on the Dutch team, but they've still got so much work to do here, Simon Goertzen.
And the problem is, this Ruinous Gremlin and 3 mana actually means an almost free block for Dominguez. So I can't see a repeat attack similar to the one that we saw the previous turn.
Karsten down to 8. 3 cards in hand. You assume no incendiary sabotage. But Ruinous Gremlin, a card that's been pretty low on the radar of people, but it's certainly doing some work here, keeping that Thopter honest.
It's far from unplayable. Let's be honest. There are a lot of very powerful artifacts in this set.
Here's one of them. World-Fast Monitor. Once again, another 3 mana 3/2. Set completely overrun with these 3-cost creatures. A real glut of them. And a lot of this meaning you need to adopt quite an aggressive posture early on. There are going to be trades. There's going to be creatures bumping into each other. And we're going to see now the Ruinous Gremlin have something of a snack. Go and pass out in a food coma. Eating up the lizard. There we go. A delicacy. Considered a delicacy in many parts of the world. Lizard meat. And it looks like the Ruinous Gremlin is really getting amongst the bit of international cuisine here.
Dominguez doesn't have anything. He's sitting there with 2 swamps. So he needs the creatures that he has to take it home, and he needs to rely on Frank not having anything of impact here.
So, we see the Grubs grow to 4/3s. We see the Thopter with an easy block on the Infiltrator. The ambitious Etherborn's ambitions might be squashed by these thriving Grubs here. It's so important to dream, Simon Goertzen. So important to have ambitions. Rise above. And right now here, Karsten knocked down to 4 by the Foundry Inspector, but making Dominguez's board a little more manageable. Still 2 creatures to face down, both of which can unload a fair whack of damage to Karsten. In fact, it would be lethal next turn, should Karsten have nothing. Dominguez, as you mentioned, just on mono lands here. Karsten, on the other hand, it's another ambitious Etherborn. And this time, once again, it's going to come down as a 5/4. That could hold off the Foundry Inspector. Definitely a non-land card, a creature card too for Dominguez here. He's flipping it around.
The Ether Torch Renegade, of course, always preparing that last point of damage.
But a forced block.
For Karsten's blockers, exactly.
Forced block for Karsten as Thriving Rats comes in and continues to bolster Dominguez's energy reserve. Karsten now, top of his library, is going to have to treat him kindly here. 4 mana. And knock knock, who's there? I'll tell you who, it's the Morpheus Doorbuster.
Too late.
Entirely appropriate here. Once again, the flavor text on this card showing us exactly how relevant it can be. As Thriving Rats, ooh, no, we saw the beginning of an attack, and yes, indeed, 2 energy transformed into a +1/+1 counter, and the 2/2 comes across. And once again, this Ether Torch Renegade, well, now without any energy, actually, it can't finish off the Doorbusters. Not that there's any need to, seeing as the Rats trades up with it straight up.
Yeah, that's the key point.
Karsten here, as a hush falls over the venue, has to decide whether he's going to block. He's going to halve his life total if he doesn't. Heart-stopping moments here at GP Rotterdam, around the world, wherever you are. I would like to thank you for choosing to join us. It's been a rip-roar of a weekend and an appropriate conclusion here with a tense nail-biter coming down between some of the most skilled players in the world here. Frank Karsten, the hometown hero, the Dutch Hall of Famer, flying the Dutch flag proudly with him and his teammates here. Javier Dominguez, Márcio Carvalho, and Luis Salvatto poised to take the trophy. But right now, Karsten seems to have taken the damage, and the follow-up play here, it's a vehicle. Toot toot, all aboard. It's the Aradara Express. Next stop, your face.
But not the power to activate it yet.
So Karsten, that life total doesn't seem to have changed, but my calculation, he's at 2.
I believe so as well.
Multiform wonder as well, the play here
Wow.
for Dominguez, really ripping the hottest of pepperoni off his deck. That means that the Aradara Express can be crewed. And will the timely departure of this train be enough to push things over the edge for Dominguez here? We see indeed the Multiform Wonder jump inside the train. One of the forms of the Multiform Wonder seems to be a train conductor. 1 mana. And it's built to smash, and that is that. There we go. Frank Karsten ending the game in style as you see the jubilant faces of these players here as they have taken out GP Rotterdam. They came, they saw, and they crushed their enemies. And the Dutch players very graciously accepting the defeat. But Simon Goertzen, what a performance from the 2016 Draft Master and his teammates.
Yeah, and the national champions of their respective countries. Spanish national champion, Portuguese national champion, and Argentinian national champion joining forces to take down Grand Prix Rotterdam.
A truly impressive performance, and you can see here, probably texting his mum, "Mum, I just won a GP." You don't know what that means, but still be proud of me. We'll be back to wrap things up here at GP Rotterdam in just a minute or so, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the booth. Well, after an absolute showstopper of a final, my friends, that is that for GP Rotterdam. We're going to head down to the feature match area in just a few minutes to have a chat to the victorious parties. But of course, our congratulations extended to all of the top 4 competitors and indeed all the competitors who put very deep runs into day 2 throughout this tournament. It's been fantastic. I've learned so much about the format, Simon Goertzen.
Me as well, because it's a different beast, right? It's not draft, it's not sealed. I heard just now somebody who prepares for sealed, not prepared for this event. Somebody who drafts a lot, not prepared for this event. You have to practice with your teammates the format that you're going to play at this event.
Yeah, and all of the teams that would have put in the hours and done the research and preparation required definitely would have been rewarded. Many people finishing pretty high in the money, of course, as well. But of course, it's all about the winner right now. It's time to have a chat with the winning team. So down to Brian David Marshall in the feature match area to have a chat with the victorious party.
Oh, captain, my captain, my captain. 3 national champions heading into the World Magic Cup next week. Portugal, Argentina, Spain. They just won Grand Prix Rotterdam team event. Márcio, you didn't do a lot of losing this weekend. Your personal record, your teammates cheated you out of the 16-0 though, didn't they?
Yeah, I had a draw and I didn't finish one game too, but yeah. They cheated me. I don't know if I was going to win, but I was in a good spot. My draft wasn't too good on the final, so I thought they had to carry me this round, and they did, so it's good.
What can we expect next weekend from Team Portugal at the World Magic Cup?
I'm hoping for top 8, but you never know, right? I'm winning a lot, so I hope it continues.
Yeah, you're coming off, obviously, the finals of the World Championship. You've been doing really well at the Grand Prix. Now another Grand Prix title. How are you feeling?
Back the last ones. I won GP London, and then I won this one, back-to-back GP, so I can't feel better.
And aiming to get back to Worlds, maybe do one better this year?
Of course, now the win, right? Yeah.
All right. Luis Salvatto, you're in the middle of a pretty exciting run. You finished 15th at Pro Tour Kaladesh. You have a GP top 8. Now you have a GP win. How's Argentina looking going into the World Championship? World Magic Cup, I should say.
Yes, they are all crazy in Argentina, like me. Like we will go to the World Cup and play the best Magic as we can, but everything it's amazing. This is happening.
And personally for you, a good season. You said this pretty much locks up gold for you for the year.
Yes, I have lock gold with this tournament, and it's only 1/4 of the season, so it's amazing.
Javier, what can we expect to see from Spain this weekend at the World Magic Cup?
Well, Modern is the most popular format in Spain, so, well, let's see if we can make top 8.
Spain known for its the modern format.
Yeah, they are the biggest tournaments are always modern. So yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, this is your 5th Grand Prix top 8.
Yeah, second win.
All right, there you have it. Dex Army. You see Dex Protection. You see these guys here, players from all over the world. But right now, Portugal, Argentina, Spain. Cheer your champions.
And hearty congratulations indeed to the winning team at GP Rotterdam. But that's all she wrote today, sports fans. And Simon Goertzen and I welcoming you to the booth now for the very last time today. Simon, you've seen a lot over your career as a magician, but this weekend really, I think, has been a huge success on so many levels. We've learned a lot about the format. We've seen some of the best players in the world rise to the top, and it's been a great overture for what's coming next week at the World Magic Cup.
Exactly.
We've seen some fantastic things, and that will, of course, continue with the coverage of the World Magic Cup next week. So tune in, my friends, right here in Rotterdam, right here on twitch.tv/magic. We're looking forward to your company then. But that is that. A round of thanks, of course, going out to all of the judging staff, all of the staff here that helped to organise the tournament, and, of course, the players for turning up and playing in the damn thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank my colleagues, my esteemed colleagues, one of which sitting next to me, my booth partner, Simon Goertzen, but, of course, Rich and Rashad, and Neil and Stephen behind the cameras, in addition, of course, to Toby and Chapman Sim typing away, and Matej Zalakai BDM doing the hard work in front of the cameras as well. But ladies and gentlemen, the biggest thanks goes out to you around the world for choosing to spend your weekend with us. It's been a privilege to bring you live, uninterrupted coverage of GP Rotterdam, and the whole European coverage team is looking forward to doing it for you very, very soon. My friends, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time here from GP Rotterdam. It's Riley Knight for the entire coverage team saying good night.